Right at the start of this year, you know, before everything went tits up, I made a top 10 video on the games I was most excited to play in 2020. Sneaking in at number 10 was Final Fantasy VII Remake. That may seem low to most people, but as I explained in that video, JRPGs usually aren't my thing. However, this remake looked absolutely stunning, so I had a little interest. Fast forward to March 2nd. Aside from everything outside our windows beginning to look a little hairy, we were treated to the demo for Remake in the form of the game's opening chapter. I was one of the few people not rushing home to download this bad boy. In fact, I think it was a good week or so later before I found myself a little bored and looking for something to pass the time. So I thought, why not? It looks stunning and everyone keeps going on about it. I'll give it a go.
Get down here, Merc.
I'm not gonna lie, there was a part of me that didn't want to like it. As if my anti-JRPG persona would take an embarrassing dent if I were to admit to enjoying this wonderful experience. Of course, I couldn't deny just how much fun the demo was. As I already knew beforehand, the visuals were breathtaking. Okay, that's brilliant, I thought, but the combat will likely lose me because, you know, JRPGs have all that turn-based nonsense, blah blah blah. Oh, what a silly fool I was. The mix of fast-paced, real-time combat and menu-based attacks sunk its wonderful claws into me from minute one and still hasn't let go to this day. By the time I started enjoying my time with the characters, I wasn't surprised anymore. I played the demo and I couldn't fault it. You win, Final Fantasy. You win. So the pieces were all in place. The game had unexpectedly grabbed my attention from afar, then the demo put in the final touches to make me decide that I may actually play this 40-hour monster, despite never playing a Final Fantasy game in full before in my entire life. But was it enough to make me part with a whopping £60?
You did it!
Yeah.
Alright, good enough. Let's keep on trucking.
Yes, the $59.99 price tag on the PS Store was my only option at this point, as pre-orders on physical copies were all sold out and there likely wouldn't be any other options given the pandemic. What was a boy to do? There were times where I actually came really close to biting the bullet and making the purchase. I would wrestle daily between one side of my brain, which would constantly remind me that I don't even spend that much money on the games I know I'm going to love, and the other side of me, the side which would see the adverts on TV and get that little flicker of excitement, the side of me which would see how excited fans of the series were getting over it all, and the side of me which very nearly won this internal battle. Fellow respawners Javi and Matt will tell you all about this internal struggle, as I would often bother the both of them with the same question: is it going to be worth 60 quid? To which they'd answer yes, because they were hyped for it like everyone else. It was at this point that Matt, like the brotherly angel that he is, stepped up and offered to lend me the game once he'd finished it. Not all heroes wear capes. My appreciation only intensified once he managed to complete the entire game in one weekend, like a weird Final Fantasy crazed junkie or something. All that mattered though, was I had my game.
We did it!
And the winners and champions, Cloud and Aaron!
What followed was a journey which, and this is going to sound dramatic but bear with me, completely changed me as a gamer and not only made me a massive fan of Final Fantasy VII, but also has me looking at other similar games to try find my next fix. If you're like me and have never touched this franchise before, let me explain why this is the perfect place to start. Firstly, I want to bring up something that Javi said in the Lightning Cave recently, which remember, you can catch every Friday on our YouTube channel. He brought up just how grounded this story is for Final Fantasy, and he's right. This is probably the reason why it connected with me so well, and will do for any other newcomer. I'll be avoiding talking major spoilers, but just beware if you haven't played the game and you want to go in completely blind, because I'll be mentioning a few little bits. The story focuses on a broody mercenary named Cloud, you've probably heard of him, who joins up with a team of eco-friendly activists called Avalanche, who are looking to deal some serious damage to the big bad global Marco-sucking company called Shinra. As the story progresses, I couldn't help but fall head over heels for every character who Cloud meets along the way. Even the likes of Jesse and Biggs, who never officially join your party, are characters who I genuinely remember long after the credits have rolled. It's a testament to the strength of the writing that I feel this way, especially given the preconceived notions I had of stereotypical JRPG characters, which I fully expected to run into. Now don't get me wrong, the stereotypes are there, but they are written and voice acted in a way that is just so impressive that try as I might, I just can't help but fall in love with every one of them.
Why?
Because I'm not sick of you yet.
Genuinely got to the point in the second half of the game that whenever Tifa, Barrett or Aerith would leave my party for a prolonged period of time, I'd miss them. I always felt the urge to crack on with the story just to see them again or find out where they would all end up. I can't believe I'm about to say these words, but Final Fantasy VII Remake now has some of my favourite characters in all of video games, hands down. Now, I'm going to throw another small spoiler warning out here, because I'm strictly talking endgame events from here on out. You've been warned. I won't lie to you, as the game reached its conclusion of this section of the overall story, I felt a little overwhelmed by just how fantastical it all got, no pun intended. I will say that given the character development and the story arcs, the game had earned enough of my respect to go along with all this and not to question it too much. Though, I couldn't help but feel a little deflated come the end credits, not because the story was poor, but because for the first time in this new journey, I felt out the loop, and that I'd been relegated all the way back to noob.
Okay, now I'm mad.
I just couldn't let this be how it all ends though. I felt like I needed more. I needed a better end for this incredible experience. So with absolutely no regards to potential spoilers for the sequel and the original game, I dived straight into YouTube for a dummy's guide to what the hell I just witnessed at the end of that game. Roughly 1 hour later, I came out of my rabbit hole with new knowledge of what the meta ending really meant and what changes Square Enix had made to the original. And once again, I was right back on that Final Fantasy VII hype train. Diving into the lore and theories just made me appreciate this world tenfold. It gave me a whole new appreciation for why people love this story and these characters so much. If like me, you are new to the series and want to jump in with this game, I would definitely recommend actually spoiling yourself for the original game. Rewatching some of the final cutscenes again, having seen this with my newly found knowledge, changed the ending from a confusing mess to something really, really exciting.
But
I'll be fine. You've seen how much ass I can kick?
I have.
Yeah? Yeah!
Rewinding back to the beginning of this year, I can't believe I put Final Fantasy VII at the bottom of my top 10 most hyped games, because the reality of the situation is that I can't imagine it doesn't finish in my top 3, with only The Last of Us Part 2 and either Avengers or Cyberpunk 2077 looking like likely challengers for the 2020 throne. Nearly halfway into the year, I feel like a complete different type of gamer. A gamer who is not only looking for something to scratch his new Final Fantasy itch, but will happily pay £60 this time round for the next piece of this story with no questions asked. Thank you for watching this noob's journey into Final Fantasy VII for the first time. Genuinely, it's been a hell of an experience, and if you've been through the same experience, I want you to let me know in the comments below. Also, if you've enjoyed this video, please subscribe to our YouTube channel for more videos similar to this. And for all the latest news and reviews, make sure to check out respawning.co.uk. Once again, thanks for watching, I've been Mikey, and I'll catch you next time.